Welcome everyone to another fun Linux live stream. In case I didn't fully check the drop frame situation, that was not the smartest. Anyway, let's see how that goes. A nice little Linux update of modern stuff. Turns out so many people don't like the vintage stuff. Previous video the most anyway. And of our own T2 Linux Workio flexible meta distribution development system development environment, we did previously stuff on alternative C libraries like musl. Obviously we supported others for decades like diet-libc and uclibc, but yeah, musl, the latest and greatest modern stuff, and x32, the previous video, the AMD 64 x86-64 with 32-bit pointers for a little bit improved performance. And I thought it would be cool to do the same for also our previous videos. So many videos we did. Previous video, LLVM Clang only system in contrast to the vintage and good old-fashioned GCC. And that is what I did the last nights actually. And also one thing that, yeah, recurring theme, all this stuff takes time, and maybe actually YouTube not the super very best way to finance this, but nonetheless, thank you everyone for sharing, liking and subscribing, and certainly this Patreon, all the Patreons there, because turns out, yeah, this stuff does not always just work. And although it's certainly amazing that these people do LLVM Clang and Clang, so what works, what doesn't, I spent a little bit of time, and it turns out I'm nearly the only one except yeah, Gentoo, but there it's broken, so yeah, since 2016 nobody cared. And as usual, this combination would be great because not only musl without all the legacy inheritance, and so smaller is usually better, and LLVM Clang also modern and stuff, and we don't have GCC in the system as per previous video. So the good news is it works somewhat, so much to that time spent. So if we musl, let me just find here the right directory. So if we change root in here, let me just double check here on my video goodness. That is indeed working. To some degree, I have to say. I wish, as usual, after two nights or so, I could publish in ISO and say, yeah, everything amazing. Which, by the way, it's freaking hot right now. And our mediocre aircon broke here because, mediocre aircon in the office. So if we change root in here, this is fully, so we don't have a GCC. Yeah, actually, we don't also right now don't have a Clang. Because all the stuff that doesn't work, compiling Clang, or actually right now any C++ does not yet work, but more to that in a second. But everything is built with Clang, x32, and we have here user bin bash, is it bash bug now, bin bash. And what? No such file, or what is this? File null, what? Something with file. So this is a 32-bit x86-64. So when you see, this is the funny thing here with x32, that is an x86-64 but 32-bit, a little bit funny. And yeah, lib x32 ld linux x32 so, and the stuff indeed. Well, the stuff that builds works somewhat, as you see here. Oops, also best type for typo. So that works, and we have only one big problem, and that is C++ stuff. It would be really cool because this, as you realize, I'm totally a fan of small and keep it stupid simple, and it would be amazing to fire up Xorg and stuff, which actually, do we have? Actually, probably startx we don't have. Also start by X. Startx we don't have because probably don't have Xorg, but most of the stuff built. So why is there still an issue? Yes, quite some stuff did not build. So the big issue is of the LLVM Clang support libraries. We have all the previous videos, libcxx, libcxx ABI, and libunwind and compiler RT, so 4 that otherwise live within GCC of libgcc. And as the names say, they are C++ ABI, C++ STL, and support library stuff. Lib unwind is for zero cost Intanium style, no kidding, aka new world, new style exception handling. And then compiler RT is for other, like also previous videos always, other support functions of libgcc, of multiply and rotate and arithmetic shift and stuff. So the big issue is, and that's not as easily fixable, which is actually this Gen2 showstopper here, lib LLVM lib unwind build failure with ABI equals x32, and nobody has done anything with that, unfortunately, since 2016. So that is since 2000, or since like forever, as usual, the last one doing this stuff, which is also amazing that you tune in. Probably just double check the audio. Nobody complained, but always when I don't double check, then check 1, 2, 3. Okay, amazing. No, always when I don't check, and sometimes people don't complain when I hear some pulse audio up. Anyway, so lib unwind, what is the issue? I YOLO'd this, so I would not have gone even that far. So as far as I've come here, which we can also create error list of musl. So as far as I've come, yeah, okay, why do I have, by the way, I don't really quite remember adding here. Do I have here, oh, okay, this probably was for test. I'll probably remove this because turns out I'm not so great after trying, or actually, as I mentioned between the lines, I also did quite some XFCE cross-compile stuff, but actually I have to say I'm not the greatest fan of this, to be honest. I probably have to think what we do with the basic desktop here, because it is too much for me to maintain. So this is also, we have basically only more build errors because I added here more stuff that, like XFCE, that is not really that necessary to have there right now. So lib unwind. When we go in here, lib unwind, so again, this is exception handling unwind, and they also see other when Debian people, hey, everything just works, like here, everything just works. And yeah, even other motivated people at Gen2 and stuff, nobody fixed this. So the issue is, in lib unwind, there is no special provisioning for the 32-bit pointer stuff. And I hacked here something like, I looked into this, and as usual, the C++ template goes like, yeah, it's my expertise, but C++ templates. So if we move this here for a second to disabled, also best within comma, and we build this again, job lib unwind. So the error is rather it's template static, template-based static assert. And so basically nobody took here some time to wire up. Also, we built this template with fun stuff. Here's a config. This is why our sources disappear, but we need them. And this is not that easy to fix. So for this you need they need quite some knowledge of this internal working, which even as usual, if you have not written this code, then it's not as easy. So this is your static assertion. So what this code is doing here in this line, unwind cursor, and what is doing, so it's 1177, and so it's checking here, like static assert, checking whether this unwind cursor, which is their internal name for this like pointer, but like think cursor in terms of some cursor kind of thing here internally in the software, iterating here this exception stack, and this is basically at compile time asserting that here check fit, that this unwind cursor of type, there you see amazing C++ templates, A and B being this type name A and B of, we can see this No problem, let's just take a look here in line 68. 68 is here, and that is new. Also here, super modern C++, right? Just like some reinterpreter cast of sophisticated name for good old-fashioned cast here, but here this unbound cursor. So what this is instantiated, this template is instantiated with local address space register kind, and this register kind is an old-fashioned define here. So this is in case of x86 64 here, register underscore x86 underscore 64. And there you see the stuff, and it looks super easy, right? Yet nobody there at Gen2 upstream ever fixed this. Internally it's quite complicated, so although this looks like super easy, just some register kind define and just some template of local address space and this register kind, which is again this x86 register kind. Internally it's quite complex, because the problem is we would need now to in-depth analyze how this exception handling on x32 is supposed to work. Probably for best performance it shouldn't save the 64-bit portion, which should all be either all bit 0, all bits set. Not sure how this, maybe it's always all bit 0 for the 32-bit pointers in 64-bit x86. So there you see, not only so this, I mean, we are lucky that it's not like randomly crashing, and it's like static asserting that here, that it even fits. Oh, right, and also the other thing is this, so we would need to change this. So first we would need to understand how this is supposed to work and how it then should work. So what I've done for a quick hack, I actually removed this static asserts and compiled it like YOLO, whatever. It probably will crash, but yeah, so much to the C++ stuff for now. Of course, some drop frames. Let's shortly check if we can switch to the Google server or so yeah, let's see, it's primary Google ingest server. And of course drop frames. Amazing, DOCSIS cable internet we don't have here. Another thing is here, so there's another thing that I obviously already checked in my all night's work. And that is here, in my opinion, this is a little bit low tech for something as high profile as LLVM Clang in terms of this highest dwarf register stuff here. This is somehow hard coded. For x86 it's unsurprisingly 8. They also see previous videos, instruction set architecture and all the registers. So yeah, x86 8, x86 64 32, and yeah, not really sure why they have here so many. Not quite sure what's going on there. However, they also, so this is, as you see, this is somewhat hard coded here. Also, this cursor size. So probably we would also need to change this cursor size here, which probably is the space this exception unwinding reserves and uses and allocates there for this exception handling. So in my opinion, this is a little bit surprisingly low tech, and I would have commented this a little bit more. This is my opinion. For something as high profile as LLVM Clang, a little bit open magic number coded here. I would have preferred if you have the comment also either like have here a structure and have here size of, like have here a register structure. I mean, it's 2020, right? This funny YouTuber here needs to educate studied computer science people at Apple and Google how to code compiler stuff, but here, there we are in 2020. So far we have came. Anyway, so either have here a nice struct and size of the struct, like struct with registers that you freaking see what's going on. That's how I would do it, or at least comment here. I mean, this is clear here, but this is a little bit where this number is coming from. I've not immediately also what the heck, and yeah. Anyway, so we would need to adapt this if we would in detail understand, which also, yeah, why I write my own just-in-time compiler stuff in kernel soon. Anyway, so I YOLO'd this. There's also another thing. So if we patch the static assertions away, which certainly will crash most likely anyway, lib unwind, at least for stuff that's using exception. Let's move this back. And there's a second thing. So there's a second reason which maybe we could do live. Here, let's move this back. Then it builds, but most likely won't really work. But this is also proof of concept. There you see, maybe I'm most likely the first who has gotten that far at all, because if you don't have the support labels, you see, it's easy. YOLO that with this simple trick. It's like, yeah, whatever. So let's clean up here. It's too much croft in the meantime. Let's also maybe error list this again, so know this, all this XFCE stuff. So yeah, 120 errors, which actually, why the heck is better FS failing? Which might be RX2FS, and why is that failing? That is failing because fatal error. So this might be here a real LLVM Clang bug. Yeah, so we have a couple of those. Fatal error here in backend, cannot select whatever that is, not really sure where this is. This an instruction encoding, no idea. Glue x86 in instruction, something TLS base address of something, target global TLS address here of some i8 whatever at buffer something 0 stuff. Not really sure why this is happening. This could be simply a bug in LLVM Clang, right? Because why should this exotic stuff happen? We have a couple of those in other packages. Maybe even what I wanted to show you, which is labcxx ABI for some strange reason. And this is also the reason why all the C++ stuff anyway doesn't compile right now, because we don't have this cxx ABI right now. cxx error. And so this is exactly the same here, or well, not the same, but similar in terms of LLVM Clang backend. The funny thing is, as far as I remember, this LLVM x32 stuff was submitted by Google. So yeah, you Google stuff, you only get my own videos. Yeah, maybe I did in 2012, and they are not production ready, as you see. As far as I remember, some Google people submitted this for actually, you see plus 5%, would be nice, wouldn't it? So maybe with musl and stuff. As far as I remember, Google Fabricator, Google people submitted this for native client maybe. Who is this here? Somewhere of. And it's something, whatever. Anyway, yeah, would be so nice. There you also see the problem with this concept of this YouTube videos. This is just too much rocket-like engineering stuff. It's like can't YOLO this, like Linus Tech Tips rolls over their precious Threadripper and Xeon CPUs. Yeah, so some real engineering required. I slightly wonder where is it, and this is in thread at exit. So yeah, that ain't that easy. We could actually, I've not yet Googled what we get if we Google that. People ask me, what do you usually, or do you take something? Also here, Clang 3.2 is this. Yeah, apparently also happened for whatever other non-x32. But yeah, people ask me, do I take stuff from other distributions? Usually not as much, because you see, in terms of the very few or this exceptional combinations that don't work, then at other distributions it's anyway not existent. So yeah, not really somewhere to copy and paste from anyway. I wonder if you could YOLO that also. And try to build stuff without exception or something to get some more stuff working proof of concept, because it would just be too nice to see what the resulting performance would be, which, by the way, do we have Apache APR stuff of APR build? did subversion build? Hey, subversion, freaking subversion build. Is this so right? Hey, this is, I mean, quite some stuff built, right? I mean, this T2 is not too shabby, right? I mean, quite some stuff here. Where am I? This is not so, oh, so this was not so right. Let's see if this complex software like Subversion even functions correctly. If not, you tested that, so this will be live. OpenSSL speed, OpenSSL speed. I tested already, that worked at least somewhat to that degree. So, what? Oh, it worked to some degree in the segmentation fault, or what? Interesting. Maybe I should have let it run longer, so much to it works. But I guess this also S-trace works. Maybe this is at the signal handling, because it like SIG return, so probably a first SIG alarm for the timing of the benchmarking. So maybe OpenSSL works in just like some whatever is there with signal handling, but also recurring theme. Also, we don't have VI here. Why not? Okay, fine. etc resolve. Just enable here because it's a sandboxed. So what's our drop frames? Not that bad. User source. Let's see if check out HTTPS T2 trunk. Okay, so no SSL and so okay. Complex software works, but not OpenSSL because nah. Anyway, but this is already pretty complex software, right? So much to YOLOing at least the lib CXX thing. And yeah, it is fast. Obviously, it's coming locally here through the gigabit Ethernet here. So yeah, so much can it check out. Fast can it check out be. So I mean, quite some stuff works. Trunk, SVN status, SVN. So yeah, that works. What is with VI? So the problem is to have a really functional system as usual. As I said in the beginning, it would be amazing to release this proof of concept ISO, but this is right now really too broken because we certainly need C++ stuff for Clang. Clang also errors out here. Yeah, cannot find libc C++ ABI. Of course, this is the most minimum that we need. Probably the same for LLVM. Yeah, cannot find C++ ABI. So slightly tempted. Not really sure does LLVM Clang needs exception. Oh, wait a second. I also wanted so subversion works. Okay, SSL doesn't work. I'm slightly tempted to put this in production just for some testing. Actually, okay, maybe we don't have Apache in the minimal config here, minimal desktop. But yeah, we wanted to see if we can YOLO this libcxx stuff. The right thing, of course, would be to understand what is happening here with LLVM with its relocations. Relocations are for this dynamic symbols of the shared objects. So, I mean, it's instruction selection, so somehow it's failing some kind of instruction selection for, so deck instruction selection and function. Please attach the following. Here's something. CPP, SH, what is in this? Is this still there? It's still there. So crash for beautiful. So driver, this is musl x32, O2, MX32. This is all their internal stuff. So this is how to run it. And this are the sources, probably the pre-processed sources. It failed in, let's see, also wrong file. This was a file error. It was some at exit. Let's see, do we have this here in this function? Let's left that again and oops. It's native mouse support, super annoying. So what do we have here? We have here if Linux and Linux of Fuchsia. There you have it. CXXABI extern something, and if so, where's implementation? Have threadx at exit implementation. What is going on here? Detour exit, detour, run detours. Doesn't look too bad. But yeah. So yeah, for this some real LLVM Clang Guru meditation is required, unfortunately. But this is also surprising that a compiler like LLVM Clang can be that sophisticated and yet fail in such somewhat unexpected, somewhat regular C++ code packages. You could YOLO it a little bit like other YouTubers or distributions, like experiment here around here with optimization option if it goes away with size optimization. But let's see, RM backout cannot select. Slightly wonder if global TLS address. I really wonder how a compiler as sophisticated as LLVM Clang compiles everything fine with 64-bit pointers, and with 32-bit pointers starts to have issues like that. But yeah, probably that update wanted to do some yet interesting Linux combination, and at the end, yeah, 2 nights for that, and then it doesn't even work. That is software engineering at its finest. Here live on this channel. We could, for a small test, not if it's like register pressure or something of that sort. What do we have, by the way? I also had a typo here, since I should have read this earlier. But yeah, as the title says, boldly go where no one has gone before, then it obviously doesn't work. Also a recurring theme, that what I said in previous videos of mine, that if we would have some just-in-time compilation, not only, as I said, just-in-time optimization for just your CPU, if you have AVX 1 to 512 and stuff, that is used otherwise with static compile stuff. You run your Firefox, you open Office, and it's using only Core 2 Duo optimization stuff. And yeah, theoretically, someone even said, I think someone commented on some previous video, that some virtual machine like Java, whatever, could potentially use compressed pointers. So maybe something is even doing this x32 like compressed pointers, if possible, for some stuff as an optimization. You could actually do this just in time, theoretically, if your kernel would have some support guidance for preferably return 32-bit pointers to user space, as long as the application doesn't allocate more memory. So yeah, recurring rumbling of the state of IT and computing could be so much better if some stuff would just be a little bit more innovative. With what bitrate do we even stream? 6 something? Looks even... no, 5 Mbit. Yeah. We could switch over to the other more live channel and work a little bit more live on this, but this kind of stuff will usually be super boring. Honestly, even working on whatever PCI 3D graphic card here would be probably more interesting. Anyway, wanted to share this update, and maybe one small test for if it magically disappears with var remove insert O2, oops, and var append Why is this? Certainly didn't press enter. Anyway, let's grab this again, and so MX32. Not the highest hopes, I've not tried that, but you never know. No, please submit a bug report. Yeah, we certainly could do this. That is, as usual, the lowest hanging fruit of just submitting a bug report and hope other famous people fix it. Also this redirection, this order. Kind of like, so still the same. I really wonder what's up here with this TLS base address, target global TLS address, I32, global deters alive. I mean, we could try if we simply disable this at exit stuff. This was some target has at exit what? Has CXA thread at exit impl internal equals nothing? What? What the heck is that? Internal one versus somehow what the heck? Why is this empty? F library C? Not really sure what that did. Does it do more, or did this build? What the heck? Modern build systems are amazing. Are you kidding me? What? I can't believe it yet. Welcome to my life. 20 years of working with upstream projects. Now 2020 only live here on this channel. Okay. How do we patch that to? Maybe the only thing is, so I wonder, as long as we don't get exceptions, so what would uselib unwind? I slightly wonder if we could get this C++ stuff to some stuff work maybe a little bit, and maybe even so if we would, but yeah, I'm not getting my hopes too high, because natively compiling LLVM Clang here is a rather monstrous piece of software, so not the highest hopes of getting so lucky today. At exit, where would that be? Grab at exit. So yeah, modern build systems, amazing options at, also with typo at exit. There is something, dear have something. Where is this even coming from? From this has at exit, so it's at definition have at exit imply. So what we could YOLO this in terms of, like, yeah, whatever you see, it's how to even set this, it's hilarious. Was it help or which options? Yeah, before we fiddle around here too much, what I usually do with this modern stuff where you don't even whatever's going on here, let's YOLO this in terms of whatever here, C66ABI. Let's just add this in our own code, because at least that we can read. Why do we have here also actually have this slightly offset some pixels? Not that it would matter too much, but whatever. Why do I have a colon there? Var append, it's not no defaults. YOLO for test, meaning not production code quality, just like hook at pre-make 5. This is what our amazing hooks for are for, and then copy that to V. Thank you very much for Thank you very much. Amazing editor, but maybe this is NVI. This time no experiments with alt and arrow keys. Echo this stuff into that file and also not overwrite but append. Let's see what happens. Maybe we are super lucky and this just magically actually could also, oops, wasting our time and adding here verbose just for the better YouTube status. Leave in the comments below if you're a recurring viewer. Once upon a time someone said this, okay, did not yet work. This cool retro terminal stuff is hard to read. I changed the font, I think personally, so this is without less effects. Leave in the comments below if that is better. I agree the other scanline emulation stuff was certainly a little bit fuzzy on YouTube, but maybe this gives this at least a tiny little better look. Let's see what we got there. But if you're still here after this boring stream so far of technical in-depth Linux internal working stuff, you're certainly amazing and rock, and hope you learned something. And also leave in the comments now or later what you think is the time best spent, like on this modern alternative stuff or better 3D code microkernel stuff. Because yeah, you want to work on upstream open source Linux stuff, and then yeah, everything breaks as usual. Yeah, hours are already gone. It's always the edge here of actually it is here. Oh, is it? No, wait a second, this is another. Maybe we at exit, did we not? No, we didn't correctly add this there for some reason. What have I written there? Oh, wait a second, postmake is also wrong. We of course need pre-make, not postmake, so much too. Let's see. Is it Father's Day again? I thought it was. Father's Day was recently already. So yeah, this YOLO'd, we could, so I YOLO'd another thing to even advance the build as far as I did previously. I also YOLO'd the package curses, and curses. And I disabled here CXX stuff, which probably I maybe leave here for the next time. Let's see if ncurse is now built with C++ stuff. Obviously no idea. So previously this obviously errored out because CXX ABI stuff not there. Let's see what happens this time. So yeah, happy Father's Day everyone. And apparently 2 Father's Days, someone wished already happy Father's Day recently. So many national, international Father's Days. So certainly can never have enough for that. That is interesting. Here is relocation of x86 64 PC64 against symbol data isn't supported in ncurses ++a. Interesting. So much to if that just works. Let's see what happens with LLVM. What do we have? Another small C++. What would that be? Not really small, but let's see what happens with LLVM. If we are getting that lucky, or probably, yes, unresolved reference to diff. That is actually compiler RT. That should actually theoretically be there, but let's rebuild this. That is libcxx, or wait a second, this is funny. This still has this thread at exit implementation undefined now, so much to not internal. So yeah, That's not yet working correctly. What did I changed, I remember I changed this here for, what did I do? Bar append, only stage, apparently I reversed these 2 lines. Yeah, so this bootstrap is not yet ideal. I mentioned this already in the previous video that this is not, oh wait a second, this is not what we wanted to build. libcxx, let's see what happens. Maybe we get the same, still div t3. That is in compiler RT. I slightly wonder why. But I think we should have that. But maybe not really. I'm pretty sure that built before. Anyway, yeah, it ends that easy. So probably my time is not best spent on this exotic configuration. As fun as this 5 to 10 additional % performance would be, but spending hours and nights on this exotic configuration, you see, no upstream and major people have done for a long time. We could do some stuff, for example. One thing we probably should do, well, one thing I should do next, there are still some small quirks and tweaks even for non-x32, so for generic LLVM Clang system compiler musl, or actually mostly LLVM Clang system compiler combination. One thing I probably can already do now, because it wasted me another couple of minutes, is having here config options. So this would be, was it something cc, either default, and also this is musl config. No, maybe the other way around, default something cc. Yeah. So maybe, because the issue is we need to build, yeah, so the issue is we, for best smooth integration without a lot of glue code around that, we would best need Clang default to compiler RT, and this is stuff that also doesn't work, as you've seen a moment ago. And I had this prepared here with a true statement for testing, but probably it's time. It's not the most perfect thing, but I think for now we can just, because very theoretically you could mix, you see there are so many combinations, and why we have this config conditionals. Theoretically you could of course build for compatibility and whatnot also GCC and libgcc, and have still somehow, if you wanted to, LLVM Clang as a default system compiler, yet using GCC's libgcc. But honestly, there's also a limit of options for now. So probably for now it's good enough if we conditionalize here, if this equals Clang, then yeah, you don't need quotes there, but I find it a little bit more readable. So if the default, like the T2 SDE config default compiler is Clang, then var append this stuff here, which also maybe we do like that. So and yeah, how do we do this the most readable, the best? Always a little bit. Yeah, something of, I don't know, maybe, yeah, whatever, probably it's good to find. So what this is doing is, if you just build LLVM Clang, it defaults to the usual default Linux, because of course you would want to use it with GCC based systems, and otherwise, like if this then, if the default compiler is Clang, then cxx lib standard lib C++ is yeah, default RT lib compiler RT and unwind. Theoretically, we could make very fine-grained options for that, but honestly, I don't really think this is the best time spent. So previously there was just like false, and in retrospect I should just have immediately wired this up perfectly, but yeah. Also double space, also our amazing commit script. Yeah, obviously we don't want to have double spaces because yeah, white space cleaners. So yeah, wired up Clang default CXX. Theoretically, I would find probably if like the order of compiler RT, because it's like runtime and lib unwind and libc in this. Anyway, wired up Clang default compiler option to whatever to default option whatever. Wired up Clang default compiler RT to default CC. Probably go for it. As per all the 500 previous videos, a lot of accumulated stuff here. What is this? Who is some random stuff, or maybe data compile test reason. But otherwise, yeah, a lot of stuff here accumulated as per usual. Also quite some diffs here. It's probably all from our databot previous video. Yeah, a little bit sad. For me, always you spend so much time and at the end it doesn't even work fully. Well, at least it works somewhat. Some are not the most commons, maybe too technical, but this column from OpenSSL. Yeah, a little bit sad always investing this time, but yeah, this is development and research stuff, does not always work. And also the crux of, I said this before, how to earn money with open source, the usual thing of if a customer wanted smaller embedded systems or higher performance, then as I said previously, very few people would want to. If I tell people it takes a week, then they say, mind blown, why does it take a week? Like, yeah, stuff doesn't just like magically work. And certainly doing this in Clang, like if you would write this from scratch with a handful of Google engineers who I think wrote this, maybe this x32 support, certainly takes a month or half a year or whatever, and okay, hopefully maybe a month of a team of, I don't know, LLVM Clang. Shouldn't be that much of a deal to do compressed 32-bit pointers, but who knows with complex C++ code. But yeah, commons. Mitchell likes this, and day-to-day also say day-to-day most stuff barely works here. And there you see, and Debian people tell me why do I sometimes comment there on some forums, and Debian like, hey, the stuff works, like, yeah, shit, it works. But I mean, it works a little bit. It's really frustrating. We are relatively close. Yeah, it's this at exit, which basically boils down to, maybe this is even a regression that in when Google or whoever engineer submitted this, it actually worked. Why is this camera stuttering? So maybe previously it even worked. Actually, is the camera stuttering like this the whole time? Yeah. Maybe it worked once upon a time. It broke the last version 10 and 9 of LLVM Clang, but yeah. That's it for this video. Probably best not to have it that long. Theoretically, we probably have some other patches. How do we do it? Anyway, maybe we go live later, either for some IT news in this More Live channel, or maybe some more work here on random stuff. But yeah, stuff is complex. Obviously, right? Previous video, instructions and architecture. This is when I say instructions, and this is this kind of stuff. What you see with object dump, dumping here some, you know what, we could actually dump here some actually real lib x32. We can actually use bash here for x32, so how this code actually looks in terms of this compressed pointer stuff. and yeah, 32-bit pointers, main function here. Actually here we would see, so that would be, this is pushing the whole, yeah, certainly usually, obviously it's 64-bit registers. Actually, I really wonder how they do this with the unwinding. I wonder if there's some document in terms of x32 ABI exception. Probably should theoretically be some. ARM, thank you very much. Is this some proper machine, something native 32-bit processor specific for Linux kernel support? Yeah, this should be that. Do we have here somehow not very much information actually? Yeah, thank you very much for that. So, I mean, for unwinding, well, basically as in x86, in 64-bit, AMD 64, all the registers here, previous video, are 64-bit, so pushing this, so this pushes the general purpose register 15, 14, 13, 12 here, and BX, whatever, what would it be? Would it be register 1 or 2? So they are 64-bit, obviously. Actually, we could single step through that, actually, to be honest. Did we actually build GDB? That would be interesting. But, or maybe nowadays it also needs C++. So given that all the registers could be pointers, probably the layout should be the same as 64-bit. Let's see if we, not really sure if this is also C++ in the meantime. Cannot find here, it's trying to do C++ stuff. And of course now it will probably still fail even with this half working, with this not at exit handler there. It will probably fail with a unresolved symbol, most likely. Also actually a little bit damaged in the meantime. Probably should do more IT and somehow a little bit kaput here. My side anyway. Probably get a new coffee also, matching coffee, not paid advertisements is, I think, anyway, but Dragons to Dragons, LLVM Clang. Yeah, I wish, but this is a topic for another video. This is why I would be interested to continue my own just-in-time compiler. Spoiler alert, I already did the ARM stuff, so some other night I've also done previous video what we've done proof of concept for Spark, PowerPC, MIPS, RISC-V and x86. I also did for ARM, so just some proof of concept, function call, return, shifting and moving and stuff. And yeah, not only some most minimal, because certainly you have seen LLVM Clang super large. In the meantime, I really would love to have the most minimally working proof of concept stuff that you can, but yeah, configure 2020, most stuff, recurring theme, most stuff spent on configuring stuff, no, because anyway. Let's maybe, what do we have here in terms of, yeah, we have some updates. Actually, we have AlsaLib already. AlsaLib 1231, is that today, this morning? Interesting. So yeah, very theoretically, we probably also have a tiny little stuff. Probably people already get depressive on our mailing list. Some patches there, which is amazing. Yeah, this still fails with undefined references. So now, actually there are two now. Why is diff TI3 why would that not be in there? Actually, maybe people really bid crazy amounts for abundant vintage stuff on eBay. I slightly wonder if, because how was this with I somehow YOLO'd this musl stuff. There is some hotfix patch cross. Is this here? Yeah, so that is if we move this to disabled and rebuild lib musl, I wonder, move to disabled, and now with the proper, maybe this fixes the thing, because that is the nightmare. Previous video I mentioned this already. What a nightmare it is this to bootstrap what in GCC is integrated, that in libgcc it's integrated all in GCC, all the GCC, libgcc support stuff with all this stuff, and in LLVM Clang it's separated in single packages that in theory I would actually prefer, but the problem is now with bootstrapping. Somehow this stuff doesn't bootstrap nicely in freestanding. So yeah, this is just some shared file user include whatever, not caring too much about that. Okay, we can actually just ignore this. So probably that would be libcxx. Let's see if we can. I mean, theoretically we could slightly YOLO this even more. As we already spent so much time on this stuff, let's revert. So this is just basically, this is unclean bootstrapping stuff, which is like YOLOing a little bit of getting this stuff to build here. What was this? So yeah, let's test if that gets rid with like building musl with the actual correct, not like YOLO'd, but actually the other was, anyway, doesn't matter. And what was it? This was GDB. Actually, GDB took quite a while. Yeah. Anyway, let's take GDB. Let's see if this gets rid of this one undefined symbol of underscore whatever it was of divide si3 whatever something, which is, by the way, divide support stuff for not directly in instruction implemented, but software library additional support stuff. If this boils down to just one symbol, like previously we had two, like underscore cxx at exit stuff, if that's the only one that's still there, maybe I spend another minute YOLOing, trying to work around the that we could actually try to patch that differently. We could also, what was splitting there, and because that certainly, so the other YOLOing certainly wasn't the most amazing. That was, I think, ABI. So that here was like, yeah, don't need that. It wasn't the most helpful anyway. What did we change there? Okay, that does not change. And if you're wondering why this is compiling compiling that fast, AMD 3950X notified advertisement in a previous build video, and yeah, it's a pity that this configure stuff takes. I mean, honestly, most of the stuff I said before, most of this is totally a waste of time. Don't check this in this configure. Usually the stuff is always there, and if your system doesn't have this, then like YOLO whatever, screw it, system to support without lib string and copy whatever, it's like whatever. And otherwise in my like exact image in my project, I just not check this if I know some function like signal handling whatever is differently on. Oh no, this is still there for whatever strange reason. So what I usually do in my system, my software, is then define, like not configure check, but define like if def Linux, Mac OS, whatever, and then not the stupid configure, because the Linux system should have, like, if it's like BSD versus Linux, then like ifdef Linux, otherwise BSD or Windows, and not this endless configure checking, which only takes forever. So you wonder, is this not in build? Musl x32 cross, this should be somewhere like user lib. Actually, you know what, it could theoretically be, it's still using the wrong one, honestly, because it puts this here a little bit in strange. Yeah, so this is actually not updated. Actually, did it put this in lib x32 maybe? Maybe this is still the wrong. Okay, maybe just professionally take a look in compiler RT. What? Why is this compiler RT so empty? Did this not install some? What did it even do? Oh, this is again some garbage that doesn't really build something, like compiler RT build, but manually specified variables were not. This is like some stupid CMake stuff. I think I remember I once had the stupidity that it didn't even freaking build a freaking thing. Amazing professional packages. So yeah, I have here some bootstrapping glue that is also new from today, which is like, yeah, I mentioned this bootstrapping is not amazing. So what do we have here? CMake C compiler forced on, size of, oh wait a second, is this the right size? Actually, do we override this for, but probably we do, right? Yeah, we override this. This is correct. Somehow this doesn't. Oh, wait a second. This doesn't even. Why is this commented out? Here's also if musl then sanitizers of XOF profiler of. Why does it not freaking build a freaking thing? But yeah, stuff just works. TM. Let's see what happens now with that. Otherwise, I have the feeling again it didn't really build much. It's only like compiler RT headers. Thank you very much. I have the feeling there is something going wrong. Maybe we could actually YOLO that in case of if we have this here and put here SI3 maybe. But yeah, so much to whatever it's going on here, not really sure what it doesn't like now. But something it obviously doesn't like. Anyway. I have the feeling this would be more productive if I would have written 3D code for Matrox or SES or via Unichrome stuff. Yeah, at least some stuff is usual. You see all the configuration glue accumulating there. Slightly wonder, I think I kept, we could actually check build musl. I think I kept the old one here. Let's see what is in the var adm log. I probably should also, but there you see how much time, and then no embedded project customer stuff wants to pay this, or if I tell them here it doesn't work upstream, like I mentioned, like customers told me a decade ago, yeah, if your stuff doesn't work, I can't use it. And if I tell them I need some hours to invoice you for this consulting work stuff, development stuff, for this to work, then I can't use the systems, it doesn't work. And so basically having to fix this for free, implement this for free, and it's hilarious situation with open source stuff. But leave in the comments below what you think. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, you see this builds something. This builds Clang RT, CRT. Why does it not build this? This is hilarious. We could div this. By the way, this is why you would have keep this around. Musl x32 or ADM log. So what's different except MX? See, obviously x32. Found assembler, so it says, why is this here? So it finds an assembler. Not Python interpreter, thank you very much. What's then here going on? Here's compiler RT has fuse LLD flags. Here is something. Compiler RT supported architectures. Oops. Why does it? Somehow it doesn't think it's supported. It doesn't do a freaking thing. That would explain a thing or two. But in general, this is of course super frustrating that people, what people want to pay other people for work or not. Where would we have this compiler RT? Is it probably here? Supported architecture. Where would that be coming from? Modules, compiler RT, whatever. Fuzzing on Fuchsia. Yeah, modern build systems, amazing stuff. Here's something docs testing guide. Means they have only that. Where would that be? CMake built in? So probably here also. Returns a list of architecture specific target C-flags, arch index, confine compiler RT, arch. So what is arch then? Wonder slightly. Arch index, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not the most impressed about modern build systems, because as slow as this GNU autoconf stuff is, at least it works as modern stuff. Like, yeah, where is this stuff coming from? Compiler RT supported arch in. I mean, what is arch even? Is it x32? Maybe, but this arch index, where is that then? Yeah, in my opinion, modern build systems, nah. Someone asked what's my favorite language for programming. That is a very difficult question. 20 years ago I would have said C++. In the meantime, the modern C++ is too bloated and templatey, and it depends for what. probably for low level, still C++, maybe for, as I said, some modern stuff I write in Lua. In the meantime, I'm pretty like duct taping has quite some values. Also, set compile list of architectures we can target. But leave me in the comments below what is yours. Try to compile a very simple source to ensure you can target the given platform. CMake directory simple cc hello world what? Function get target flex for arch out var list find compile rt supported find compile. I mean, seriously. Where is this even? If target arch cflex parent scope. Oh man. Oh, here's something. What is this doing? Set. So obviously this also doesn't have x32 support, but what stupid stuff. I really wonder who could find the CMake stuff readable and workable, and it's hilarious in my opinion. I slightly wonder what this even outputs. If this is using... But yeah, you see software development with everyone needs to invent their own build system, and then you sit here and stare half an hour on build system stuff and try to figure out... here's by the way some supported arch stuff. Here would be, yeah, and then patching this. I really wonder who could love to work with this stuff. It's such a waste of time. So here's obviously, so here's some supported arch. Let's see if we compiler RT supported arch. Here is, it's obviously all going on in this. Compiler supported arch. Set something, find append compiler. So here is if not macOS version minimum flag for each Darwin arch. Oh my god, readability is also something else. List intersect sanitizer common. My goodness. Remove duplicates, RT supported arch. Oh my god. Stanford has done a lot of work related to non-GNU, and yeah, but this x32, I mean, it's working here, right? It's in T2, state of stuff in T2 amazing, except x32 stuff is anyway here not upstream. So yeah, in my opinion, leave in the comment below how amazing you find this readability. This is such an cluster freaking heck here, it's hilarious. I'm not even sure what this returns as, if this returns where even to start patching here. So we could do the problem is, of course, in a good old-fashioned configure script, you could just echo print this architecture thing here, even where how to start testing this, even outputting this. Built-in config. I really wonder how this even works here. What is it? Is this setting a variable name? Probably setting that to that. And then probably it's empty. So the way this probably works is setting this here. And then here, this is in all common supported architectures of that. Theoretically, I wonder if we can just put here x32. Apple, we don't care. And what happens then if this arrows out with something? Yeah, well, basically I could swear here, like Louis Rossmann, what cluster F this is here. Probably the reason why more people watch him cursing over MacBooks than basically I could do the same, because this is such... Anyway, this also, yeah, I conclude after 20 years, I really have to say, sorry, this my lifetime is not worth messing with this. There's also CMake, like, yeah, people had to reinvent build systems, and then they invented CMake already a long time ago, even Gem, and now Ninja, Mason. It's hilarious. So many build systems, that, yeah, nothing really works, and yeah, it's hilarious. Maybe we could actually, would it be really wish I could just like quickly somehow YOLO that, whatever. Where would that even, so the problem is even, does this even have, like, by the way, this printed something, right? Does it have, like, oops, print, where would be, here's some print, this was, thank you, here's message. Message fatal error. We could actually then use that to output this arch, so that was simple, just to see what is the output of this architecture thing here. So set compile RT supported, so list and arch, and here's arch, so where that is coming from, function get target flags for arch, and How does this even work? Set all common supported arch. Where is this filtered out? Something profile. This is also funny. Look at this. Here is somehow, these are all variables, and here's PowerPC64LE hard coded, so yeah, amazing stuff. I mean, this arch is somewhere. Is this a function or is this global? If Apple, maybe we message here. Let's just see if we can we have a variable in here like. Yeah, but what did CMake fix? I don't quite see. No. What? Wait. Oh, was I in the wrong directory? Or no, obviously wasn't the wrong directory. Thank you very much for that. RM-RF in the wrong directory is always the best. Actually, no, whatever. Do we also have a non-fatal error warning? Okay, let's use warning, and let's do this here. Not really sure, but yeah, if you, this is also the problem with the not only 1025 Linux distributions, but also 100 build systems, and when you work on different projects, which often you easily do with a little bit LLVM, Clang there, and Firefox and whatnot, and at the end of the day you only waste your time with 500 million 100 build systems. It's hilarious. And basically, in my opinion, they improved nothing, to be honest. Yeah, by the way, tests, I slightly wonder that actually we could build and support it. Do we have... So basically, in my opinion, they solved nothing. They only caused more problems now. Instead of 5 build systems that sucks, we have 25 build systems that suck. Where would that be? By the way, do we have... No, we don't. Maybe I'm looking for something. Could not determine. What is this, by the way? 307. What is that? Could not determine arch. Was this from me or was it there already? Maybe this was our message. Maybe it's needed some. Yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, what a waste of time. So yeah, modern build systems, not the most impressed. I'm probably really should spend my time with more amazing stuff. Anyway, that's it for this video then. As usual, so much longer was trying to just quickly fix something, and then yeah, another hour is gone. Hope you learned something. Leave in the comments below what you think with x32, probably as very few people use it, probably. Yeah. not the best time spent on building a production system on that. And leave in the comments below build systems and modern stuff, and which do you like, what problems did they solve, or anyway, hope to see you soon for